just like a work of art, the very best of the private gardens tend to reflect the personalities of the people who create them. Now, it might be the gardener's wild side, or it might be their more serious, conservative, formal nature. But why not showcase both at the same time? This is the hillside garden of Wild Meadows in the gardening hub of Little Hartley, just over the Blue Mountains west of Sydney. I'm here to meet Vella, who created this landscape with two different personalities. This is the English perennial garden around the house. Stephen likes to call it the Australian cottage garden. Stephen, how did all this start?
Well, it started like 10 years ago, and it was just a plain paddock, and I thought, well, this is the chance to create a great garden. Being acres, I was able to grow larger trees, bigger borders.
Obviously, in a garden of this size, plant selection is really critical. How do you go about that design process?
I'm looking for something that is able to perform all 4 seasons. That's what I aim for. And it's got to look fantastic coming right at the end. And especially this time of the year, with autumn, the display of seed heads and colour foliage just makes it a bit more wow.
Now, Stephen's not only growing some very rare and unusual perennials, he's also got a very rare and unusual fruit. This is medlar. It was one of the very first fruits. So over 1,000 years ago, it was quite popular. But when it arrived in England, it then started to get some very nasty common names. The only one I can actually repeat here on television is pig's bottom, if you get what I mean. And that refers to the shape of the base of the fruit. But home gardeners actually started to use the fruit. Now, why aren't the birds eating this? Because it's as hard as a rock. But when they do start to eat it, the fruit's soft, and that's when we need to harvest it and make it into beautiful jams and jellies. Interesting plant, but there's another that's even more popular. Yes, it had to be persimmons. Everyone's starting to grow them in their backyards. They're rather expensive to buy the fruit, so why not grow your own tree? Later in the season, the autumn colour in the foliage, as well as the fruit, is quite spectacular. But there's one other little benefit that you might like to take away from Stephen's garden. Notice the orange colour? When you're looking from this side, you're getting to see all the orange dahlias with the orange fruit. It's very clever plant selection, just to marry the two up. Who would have thought about it? Stephen has, and you can. Now, this side, Stephen, is the more naturalistic, meadowy side.
It's full of grasses, lots of interesting little perennials with high nectar count, which attracts a lot of birds and bees into this part of the garden.
And you've still got space for large clumps of things.
There are clump plantings, and there's matrix plantings where things are dotted through, and there's also long drifts as well.
Really, not just European stuff. We're looking at American stuff as well.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of North American plants through here, like the Veronicastrums with their verticals, which sort of gives that sort of height into the garden.
Now, I noticed from here, your backdrop, you've picked up the red and picked up with the purple. The smoke bush looks awesome.
Yeah, that's Cotinus grace.
Look at the flowers, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're very delicate looking and does give that smoky effect, but this particular cultivar, Grace, has grown more for its foliage, and every winter it gets coppers down to about 3 foot from the ground, so it encourages that lush purple foliage again.
Right. Yes, I must start pruning mine at home down at the end of winter, prune it back hard, and then let that, because they're just beautiful, blowing in the breeze. They're fantastic colour in the flowers.
Yeah, it's true. The vertical upright, it's just amazing on
Yeah.
that.
lots of inspiration for our viewers. Any tips that you could give us on creating a meadow garden?
Well, you need full sun and pick 5 good typical perennial meadow plants.
There you go. There's a starter. Thank you, mate. It's been great.
Thank you.